Hey everyone, my name is Quentin Figueroa. I'm here with Elite University, and today I'm going to be teaching my friend how to do basics in web design. My friend Jesse Gonzalez.
Hello everyone.
And I've actually been developing websites for like 10 years or so, pretty much since high school. So I'm pretty familiar with the design aspects, the programming, the hosting, all the different various things that you're going to need to create a website. And Jesse here is very new to this, but is interested in learning. So I'm going to be guiding Jesse through the basics of setting things up. In this first lesson, we're going to learn how to buy a domain name, how to set up a hosting account, and how to just get your very first website, your very first page on the internet through FTP. So it's just going to be a brief overview of kind of what you're going to need to do to get something started. And then in later courses and lessons, we're going to be actually digging into Photoshop, CSS, HTML, things like that to actually make the website look good and to be a professional, good website. And Jesse here is going to be the student asking, questions that common questions people might have, like, why are you doing this? I'm confused. This doesn't make sense. So all of these things will be presented in the video. They're not going to be as planned out because I think it should be good to see me make mistakes and to have it kind of more real. So it's not going to be super crazy. It's just going to be real and good, and hopefully you'll be able to pick up some good information from this.
But what we're hoping to accomplish as well is for me to become a web designer.
Yeah.
So hopefully at the end of the courses, I will be a web designer, and we're going to take it step by step to try and get there, right?
That is right. That is correct. So, hope you guys enjoyed these videos. Thank you, and let's get started.
Welcome to our web series.
Okay, so right now I'm going to be doing an overview on just the basics of how to set up a website, the domain name, the hosting, things like that, just to kind of show you just a whole process on what will happen when you set up a website. So, do you have any questions?
No, I'm ready to get started.
Okay, so the first thing you need is a domain name. Most people get their domain names through GoDaddy. You can use other companies too, but GoDaddy works pretty well. So normally you would come in here, you would type a domain name that you want, and then you would search for it, and it would show you if it's available or not. So domainnamehere.com is taken, but you could get a .net or .org or something like that, or you could just search for another domain name.
What's the difference between .org, .net? What makes the difference? What's the difference compared to .com?
Yeah, there's really no difference other than .com is the most popular. It's more so used by most brands. .org is usually for an organization, and a net is supposed to be more so for an internet type thing, but they're all pretty much the same these days. Just it usually goes .com is most important, then .net and .org.
Which one would get more hits? I see that GoDaddy.com, so I'm assuming that .com would get more traffic in their web. Is that correct?
Well, the domain name doesn't really have much to do with traffic, other than maybe branding or something like that. But I mean, the .com is going to be the way to go if you can. So.
Okay.
Okay, so now we're gonna cruise over here. Let's say we were though to buy some domain name here. I'm not gonna actually buy one. I'm just gonna log into an account here and create a subdomain, which is pretty much the same thing as if I were to buy a domain. And I'll show you how to get it set up to point to a server and that kind of thing.
Okay, cool. So you're going to show me at this point how I can set up when I already have a domain name?
Yeah, so these are actually some domain names we have, but if I cruise over to I'm going to set up a subdomain. So say you were to buy illyuniversity.com. It would look something like this when you're actually logged into GoDaddy after you buy it. So you're going to get a screen kind of like this. Now, the important thing right here is going to be the name servers and the DNS manager. By default, GoDaddy has name servers that are set up to point to itself pretty much. It parks the domain for you.
Okay, I need to understand what name servers, DNS manager, and TLD specific really mean. That you do need to explain.
Okay, yeah. So the name server is basically telling it where to host these domain. Right here, you see how it says ns57.domain control. Domain control is actually a domain that GoDaddy owns, and it tells the server what to do with that domain name. So when you pull up illyuniversity.com, it goes to, so you type in, if you were to, go to, so you go illyuniversity.com.
Okay.
And then so right there when I first went there, it tells this to go to here, and then here it says go here. So then the name servers are telling it to go here to see where to go.
You're kind of losing me there. I understand that you know how to do this and it's in the back of your mind, but for people like me that are barely starting to learn this, it's kind of confusing. You said go here and then go there.
So when you go to a domain name,
Correct.
it needs to know where to go to. It's like, so when you type in like CNN.com.
Okay, so in this instance, we went to eliteuniversity.com.
Yeah.
Okay, so, go from there.
So you go there, and when you type in Illy University, it needs to know what to show you. And to show you something, it's showing you information from a server. And to know which server it is, that's what the DNS is doing. So in here,
Can you explain to me what DNS stands for?
domain name servers.
Okay, thank you.
So if you look here, every website, every server on the internet has what's called an IP address. Correct. And it looks something like this. So for instance, if you were to go here and if you were to check an IP address for a lot of websites like CNN.com, you'll see here it has an IP address of 157.166.226.26. Another website, illyuniversity.com. You'll see it has another IP address, 69.167.185.214, and that is the IP address that you see right here.
Okay, so explain to me how you got to that part, the little black window.
Yeah, the little black window, it's just a thing you can use to check the IP for a website. There's lots of other ways you could do it.
Okay, but how did you get there?
If you were to just type IP for website, and then you were to click on this, you could just use Google, type in a website, and it'd be the same thing. So,
yeah, but where do you get the website IP address?
here.
Okay, it gave it right there to you.
So you can just Google it for IP for website, and it'll be the same type of thing.
Okay, and why would it be important for me to know the IP address, or does it have any significance?
Yeah, the IP is basically the server that you're going to host the website from. So if you want to host a website, you need to know the IP address for the server. So that's where this next little bit comes in.
Okay.
Okay. So actually, first when you go to host a website, you have companies like Hostgator.com.
I've heard of that.
Yeah, so they're a popular host. So you would go here and you're like, okay, I'll just view these hosting plans. And to start out, all you need is just a simple kind of shared plan. Something like this would probably be fine. You'd go through, you'd say, okay, order now. You already have a domain name that you just bought. You'd put your domain name in, and then you'd continue on. So you would get go through here, you'd order it, you'd pay your money, and then they'd basically send you an email and show you where to go to log in to set up your domain name.
Okay, so then Hostgator, is it something like GoDaddy.com?
Yep, it's just like GoDaddy. The only main difference is they do not sell domain names. They're more on the hosting side of things.
So they sell the hosting where you'll be setting up your domain.
Yeah, that's correct. So you have the domain as one thing, and then the host as another thing, and the two don't have to be from the same company.
Okay, got it.
Okay. So then we go over. So Hostgator, or whoever your host is going to give you some type of login thing to host your domain name. It's going to look probably maybe something like this, depending on what they're using. But there's obviously a lot of options here, so it can kind of get confusing. But you basically need to set up an account. So you're going to... So these right here are the accounts I have. And you can come through here, just do account, shows you, it'd be create a new account. And then, so you put your domain name in. Now let me...
Okay, the domain name being the one I bought from GoDaddy.com.
Yeah, so...
In this case, it was iliuniversity.com.
Correct. Now, I'm actually going to add a subdomain. And I'm going to make it have the same IP. Or actually, I'm not quite sure what the IP will be yet. So this might change, but it's going to be demo.iliuniversity. So my website is going to be this. And as you can see right now, nothing comes up right now. So
because it's still not registered, correct? Or it's not coming from a host?
Exactly. It's not set up to be hosted, pretty much.
So it needs to be set up. What I'm understanding at this point, a domain has to be set up under a host server in order for it to be applicable to the system. Is that correct?
Yeah. So here it is. I'm setting up this site, demo.iliuniversity. For you, since it wouldn't be a subdomain, it'd probably be more so just like iliuniversity or whatever your domain name would be. So we get that. You have a username that you're gonna have a password. So we'll just do password, and then you'll have an email, and then none of this stuff really matters. So this is just gonna be basic. I mean, most of this can all just be set to unlimited. Doesn't really matter.
Why wouldn't it matter?
Because most of these places allow you to use like however much disk space you need or anything of that. So
okay, so that's understandable. Because at this point, I would have freaked out.
Okay, so now this part right here, dedicated IP. Mm-hmm. So this is the IP it's going to use. You can choose to assign a certain IP. Now see how this one 69.16. Okay, so anyway, it ends in 215.
The other one was 214.
Exactly. So this one is 214. So if I wanted to use that IP, I would change this to 214, and it would point now to that. Does that make sense?
No, explain it.
Okay, so let's do that. So I'm using this IP, and I'm just going to leave all this as default. So I'm creating it now. Hold on.
Okay.
Create. So watch. So what it's going to do is it's going to go through now on this server that would be on Hostgator or wherever it's hosted. It's going to go through and it's going to create an environment for me to put files on a server for a website to come up when you go to that domain name.
In this case, it would be the one ending in 215, not 214 anymore, correct?
Yeah, so you see this, do you see this IP right here?
Yes, you changed it.
Okay, so I take this IP, and now when somebody goes to demo.iliuniversity.com, I want it to go to that place on the server, which is located at that IP. So I save it here on GoDaddy. I'm basically editing the DNS here, this A record, to go to that place on the server. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does a little bit, but I'm still kind of confused. So you're saving it. Now you have two different IP addresses.
Yes.
But the one that we just changed is ending in 215. That's just going to be the one for Demo Illy University. In other words, a demonstration, correct?
Yeah, and
So then everything that we save up to this point of this class that you're giving me is going to go under Demo Illy University.
correct. And for somebody else, I'm just doing a subdomain just because there's already something on the main domain, but it doesn't matter whether it's the main domain or the subdomain.
Okay, so it doesn't matter.
No, just whatever.
Okay.
Okay, so now we're going to... So I have right here, I have this changed to point to the right server. I have this set up here with, you can see username, password. So that's all cool. I'm going to now log in to, let's see. I'm going to log into the website and put some files up on there. So most websites use FTP.
Okay, explain what FTP is.
So FTP stands for File Transfer Protocol.
Okay, File Transfer Protocol.
Yeah, and that's basically what most people use just to upload files to the server. So.
And you would want to upload files to by a certain server. What's the importance of that? I mean, let's say I go to a public library and I start uploading. So then if I want to upload it to just my server, which in this case would be the IP address ending in 215, so would I can go specifically in that public library computer and change it so that everything that uploads to my IP address rather than theirs?
So are you saying if you were to upload files from a public library?
Correct. Somewhere.
I'm
just using public library as an example.
Yeah, it just depends on kind of how they're configured if you're allowed to. But you're going to use a program, what's called an FTP program.
Which is a file transfer protocol.
Yeah, and I use something like WinSCP. It's a free program. It works pretty good. But you'd basically now, let me see here. So you're going to have a username and a password, which you can see here. And this program, if I were to do a new one here. So the host name, that's going to be your domain name pretty much. So
which is Illy University.
except in this case, since
It's
we're using
Demo Illy University.
Yeah, so
Okay, so right now we are learning how to set up a domain, and we are also learning about the IP address, how to configure, and we're learning how to set up all this. So in any case, if you need to set up a domain server, this is a great way to learn.
Okay, so you have the host name in there. You need the username, which we chose as demo. Password we chose as password. And then you can choose to do a secure FTP or regular FTP. Doesn't really matter. Sometimes you might need to configure it. I don't know, kind of technical crap, but let's just do this.
Okay.
Either one would have worked.
Okay, you just said technical.
That stuff doesn't really matter. Well, we're gonna continue on here.
Excuse the language, please. Sometimes he just gets too excited.
Okay, so this should work if we log in. Let's see. All done. So right now.
And another thing I want to mention is hablamos español.
See. Okay, so this stuff, basically it's the first time trying to connect to it, so it just wants to make sure this is okay. Yes, it is okay. And we're in. So, this left side, this is our computer. You can see root documents. This is just my document folder. Here, this is the actual server.
And that's the demo, that one that we'll be using for Demo Illy University, correct?
Right. Now, one thing to check, so it takes a little bit of time when you set up when you change the IP, the DNS. It could take anywhere from, it could take 5 minutes. It could take a day. It just depends. GoDaddy is usually pretty quick. Usually takes like 5 or 10 minutes. So
Okay, real fast again. Overall, what does DNS stand for again?
Domain name server.
Okay, thank you.
You are very welcome. So, back to this site. Okay, so back searching IP address for a website to check what the IP is. So, if I go to here and I type in demo.illyuniversity.com, we'll see if it pulls up this IP, and it does. So, it's now going to the correct place, which is what the host told us to use as our IP. So if we were to go to demo.illyuniversity.com, it should give us just the default whatever page the host has, which is this. So this is what our website looks like right now.
Is that because it doesn't have an actual website?
That's correct.
Because I've seen this and I never understood what it was. Now I'm getting an understanding.
Yep. And you can see here it says Apache. That's what most of these web servers are. They're run through Apache. So it's just
Apache, not the Indian, okay?
Well,
just Apache.
it was named after the great Apache Indian. He went by the name of web server.
Really?
Okay.
Interesting facts.
Bad joke. Okay, so.
So that wasn't true?
Well, no.
Okay, bad joke.
Very bad joke. Okay, so here. Now, another thing, sometimes, depending. See demo.illyuniversity. If I'm just to go straight to the IP, look at that. Look at that.
The same thing.
Yeah.
So through an IP, you can actually bring up a web page?
Most of the time, depending on how it's configured. But yeah, so you see here, because all the IP is... Oh, go ahead.
Can we see an example of that, Mr. Figueroa?
We'll try. Let's see what happens with CNN. So, we're going to...
Oh, so obviously you know the IP address for CNN.
I have it memorized by heart. So
wow.
I have the top 300 websites IPs memorized, and I study them at night.
Wow.
So, okay, so here's CNN's IP. If we put it in here, see? So now we're accessing CNN.com just straight through their IP address. We're not using the domain name. They're both the same thing. The only thing is most humans don't memorize IPs and shouldn't. They'd rather just memorize the brand, CNN.com.
Okay, which is understandable. Yeah. You know, a lot of us are just normal people.
Yeah. So does that make sense though?
Yes. Okay, we will continue with this, but we gotta take a small break.
Okay, we're back. Okay, sorry about that. Okay, so now we have, right here, we have a blank page. So when we go to our demo.illy university, we're getting this. So we obviously want to change this. So to do that, that's where this FTP comes in that I logged into. Now, the way this works, so this right here on this right side is our server. On this left side, that's our local computer. So this is my documents folder. So if I were to go here, delete a few of these things real quick. Okie doke. Okay, so now most of these, this index is pulling from this public HTML folder. That's how a lot of them are set up. It kind of depends on how your server is, but for most of these, it's pretty common for them to be under public HTML, public underscore.
Okay, so the next step that we're doing, explain to us what we're going to do.
Yeah. So we're going to change this home page, this main page, to show something else. So you see
Okay.
So right now it says right now it says index of, and see how it says CGI bin, and then right here it says this too?
Correct.
So it's basically, now watch, if I were to add a new folder.
Okay.
And call it illy. So now I have this folder here, right?
Correct.
Now watch, I'm going to refresh this page. So you could hit F5 or you could click refresh. See how now it has that directory? So it's basically listing my files, right? Does that make sense? So if I were to I go into that directory, I create a new file.
Okay.
And I call it
But at this point, you're in what directory for this IP address, Demo Ely University? Is that where you're?
Yeah, I'm in that directory that for the host.
Okay.
So I'm accessing another computer right now.
Oh, okay.
So on the right side, this is another computer. On the left side, that's our computer.
Okay. So then the right side is one computer and the left side is another. What is the other computer that you're connected to at this point?
Well, this one is my computer. I'm not connected. It's just my computer.
Okay. Well, I'm sorry, but we're just using this as an example, correct?
Yeah, I believe so.
Okay.
Okay. So see, I created a file now in the ILI directory. So you see that?
Mm-hmm.
And now if I refresh this again, not that I would need to, but if I click through here, see file.txt, and then if I click that, watch. So it's now going to pull up that file. See? So now it's reading that file that I just created.
Did you put that hello there?
I did. You missed it. You were too busy
Learning other things.
learning other things. So now, so obviously we don't want to just have it list files. We want it to actually show like an actual website. So
That's what I'm thinking. Every time you say something, I'm thinking of websites going to appear. But I'm pretty sure you're teaching me, and I'm going to get to that part.
we might get there. So most servers are pre-set up to have what's the main homepage index.html or index.php or something like that. It's usually called index.
I've seen that.
Yeah, so what we're going to do then is create a file called index.html, and we're going to upload it into this main directory here, and then it's no longer going to list files. It's going to use that file as the website.
Okay.
So I like to use this program called TextPad. You could use Notepad or WordPad or something like that, or I mean Dreamweaver. It just depends on how you build sites. I'm just going to show you just with the straight HTML, just to show you kind of like the every underlying piece, rather than, because if you use Dreamweaver, you might not fully know what's going on. I just want to make sure you kind of know everything. So
okay, so you want me to understand?
I want you to understand. So basic HTML, the way HTML works is it uses tags. So if you have text right here, text here, and then we'll just save this right here just to start out. So we'll save this as index.html, and we'll put this in a folder here so that we can transfer it. So index.html, I just saved it as that. Now you see it here on my own computer. I easily could have just gone to documents, temp, not that one though. Now I'm going to open up something. Hold on. I apologize for this.
That's okay.
I definitely apologize for this.
We're going to take a little break just so he can get back on top.
Really? Okay. So here, let me close this right here. You don't need that. That's stupid. Okay. So temp, I could either get this file from here. I could drag it over, or I could just drag it over. So, but anyway, so now I got that file on there, index.html, right?
Okay.
So now if I go back to here and I refresh, okay, yeah, now it's not showing like it should. One moment. I'm a little bit confused.
I'm more confused.
This stuff happens. I'm just gonna try changing this to PHP maybe.
Okay, so then if you change it to PHP, it's going to change.
No, it's still not working.
It's going to change everything.
Well, so
I think at this point we will take a break and come back to this. Thank you.
no, we're gonna get this working. So, oh, no, this is weird. Okay, so normally this I think would work. I'm a little bit confused here. Okay, no, it's because I'm dumb and I was in the wrong directory. I'm not at the home page. I'm freaking retarded. I'm in another folder. So now I just deleted that though. I don't know if you saw. I deleted it. I'm gonna rename this back. This is retarded. HTML. So. Okay. So the only file in here now is index.html. I was trying to pull something from a directory. So now I deleted that, so you see that's gone. There's no stuff there.
It says not found.
Yeah, so now if I actually go to the home page, though, there. Now we got our home page.
Which you typed text here before. Ooh.
Okay, so it looks like text here. It doesn't really look like a website right now, right?
It doesn't at all. It just says text here.
Yeah.
Woohoo.
So here's what you do. So say, so the way a website would usually work is you'd have something like a logo, and then you'd have you might have like some title here.
Okay, I understand you put logo there, but then you put some other words in there. I need to be told and explained what those things mean.
So what I added here was what's called a header tag, H1. So what that does is basically it makes it so when you refresh it, see how it's big now? Because it's like a page title.
Okay, I do understand that, but I saw you skipped one line. You went from 1 to 3. Why was 2 skipped?
Just to make it more readable right now. It doesn't matter.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Little things like that I think need to be said.
So, but actually, let me show you right now because you probably want to see an image, like a logo. So I'm going to show you how to do a logo right now.
That would be nice.
Okay. So I have Photoshop right here. It does require, I don't know, most people probably don't have Photoshop. Maybe they do. But if you do have a logo, in fact, I'm not even going to make a logo. Let's say you already have a logo. So I'm just going to get one real quick from Google Images. So here we go. I'm just searching for a company logo. And I'm going to find a logo I like these guys, maybe. Or which one? Maybe MedLife USA? MedLife.
Yeah, either or.
We're going to go with this logo. So here's my logo. If you grab the full-size image, you can see it's right here. I'm going to save it. So right-click, save image as. I'm going to save it in the same area as that I'm working on right now. It's in this temp directory. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think so.
I'm going to rename it just to logo so it's easier to work with.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so now I go here. You see logo, right?
Correct.
So now I'm going to make it so it uses that as my logo on the website. Okay. But it's not on the server yet.
So how do you get it to the server?
Like that. You see what I just did?
No.
I just dragged it from where I saved it, this temp directory. I just dragged it over, and then it transferred it. See, copying. Now it transferred it. You see that?
Okay, yeah, I saw that.
So watch. So now if I...
So are you always able to drag? Because I know in my work environment, there's some things that you cannot drag.
It depends on the program. WinSCP lets you drag, and I could also drag from other places. But yeah, you usually... Good FTP program will let you drag.
Okay.
So now you have the file on there, logo.png.
So just to recap right now, we are going to put a logo on this Demo Illy University page. We've gone through the steps from the DNS to the FTP, and we've already created that. So now we're going to go ahead and put a logo up there so that we can see something there, not just a blank page, and go from there.
Yep, so here we go. We got the close that window, close this. Okay, back to our site. So you'll notice now that we uploaded it, if you go demo.university.com/logo.ping, which is the name of that file, you can see it's on our server now. You're on our server, here's that file.
So then now
But it's not on this page.
correct.
So we need to basically tie it into that page.
Okay.
Here's how you do it.
Okay.
Okay. So I'm going to change this text. There's what's called an image tag. It looks like this, pretty much. And you would type something like this. Might be a little confusing right now, but that's what I type. So
Is that for every logo?
this is for any image. So it's an
Or,
HTML image tag.
Okay, but this is the wording that you would use for that particular image.
Yeah, and if you actually go to Google and type in like popular HTML tags, because I mean, there's really only like 20 or so 23 most popular HTML tags. I'm just Googling, I'm just looking here. So these are a lot of popular tags that you would use if you're doing HTML.
Okay.
You can find a ton of this information online. Like here's a BR tag. H1 to H6, you saw me use the H1 already. You have paragraph tags, you have A tags, which are for links. Right here, I just use the image tag. So this one's another popular one. And you can see it looks similar to what I just did, right? So if I copy this, go here, come here, and I'm going to paste it underneath it. See how it's pretty much the exact same thing I just did? These quotes didn't get transferred right. But see, so you see how that's an image, right?
Yes.
Okay. Anyway, so this is telling the website to pull logo.ping and display it as an image. So I'm going to upload this file now, index, because I re-edited it. So I just uploaded the server, go back to our page, and refresh. There it is. Now we have an image.
Very interesting. That is very interesting. I guess just getting the logos memorized is going to be my next step, right?
What do you mean?
Well, those little names that you used.
Okay, yeah, those are called tags.
Well, yes, the tags. And there's like 20 or so, and you could get that on Google.
Yeah, just use Google for like everything. I mean, seriously, just search. I mean, I'm sure all these first few results are going to have good stuff. And if you want to know exactly how to use them or all the possibilities, let me show you real quick. So if you type in just the actual HTML of it, you'll probably hit this site, W3 Schools, and they actually pretty much show you all the possibilities. So this is an example using that image tag, but if you go down here, you can see these are all attributes that you can use. And these are required attributes which you use every time you use an image tag. These are all different things you can do now. These are attributes. And so if you wanted to add a border, if you wanted to align the logo, if you wanted to make the height a certain height.
Where would you add those things? So next to?
Yeah, so let me show you now. And in fact, can I make this text bigger? It's probably kind of confusing because it's kind of small, but
Yes, maybe bigger is more productive for me. Right now you are watching Elite University Web Design School, Professor Quentin Figueroa teaching us how to...
yeah, okay, thank you. Now, I just made this font a little bit bigger. I'm going to switch it about to here. So, I'm in Notepad now.
Notepad.
So you can edit these with pretty much any program you want. But actually, let me open up this file with Notepad.
Okay.
You confused?
No, not a lot, a little bit. I'm still learning. You went to temp because that's where we have all...
Okay, so I opened it in Notepad. So now we're editing our file. You were asking about what, like, if I want to do the height and change the height, where I'd put that. So
Correct. Well, not necessarily the height. When we went to all those texts, it asked you about different things. So I was just wondering, like there and the height. Yes, that is correct. What do you need to add specifically?
yeah, so let me show you. So when I'm back here, so this right here is one of those things. This whole little area right here. That's called an attribute.
Yes, and it's. I understand that that's an
So now
attribute.
watch. I'm going to add another attribute. So I add a space here, and then I type, let's say, height, and then I do it similar to how I just added the logo, except this time the height, let's do it 50. So that's 50 pixels.
Okay.
Pixel being, each pixel. Most monitors are around, like 1,400 or so pixels wide, maybe 1,200 or so pixels high. So this is 50 pixels. So it's going to be, just 50 pixels. You'll see. So I save that. I re-upload it.
And then you drag it.
Yeah. And now if I come here to our sample, now it's going to change. Right now it's probably like 100, 150 pixels, probably like 200 pixels. It's going to change it to 50, so it's going to squash it. Ready? I'm going to refresh. Okay, so you see how it just pretty much
Went down. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was just because you added an attribute, a code. Basically, it's a code, right?
Yeah.
And you went down to 50 pixels, which made the logo a lot smaller.
Yeah. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it's starting to make sense.
Okay, so at this point, what do you want to see, or what are you confused about, or what?
Well, for this lesson, I think I'm pretty much. I just need to practice and maybe get it going for myself.
Okay, but so you think right here you kind of understand the basics of what?
I do. The domain server, why you need a hosting, name, and so forth. I do understand it a little bit. And yes, I think I do.
Okay, well with that, we'll end today's class and we will pick it up.
Thank you, Mr. Figueroa. It was very, very, I learned something today.
Did you?
Yes, I did.
Okay, well then we'll pick it up next class. I actually want to show you how to make this stuff like look really good. Right now it looks like not that good. So I want to show you how to actually make it. For instance, I recently built this website, dbd.net. I want to go in and show you eventually how to turn that HTML that I just did into something like this.
So for all those that are watching us, we started off with this class, and this is what's going to lead to this. So if you stick around with us, I myself am a student and I'm learning myself. So this is where we're leading to. By the end of us being taught this, we're going to be able to create a website like the one that you're seeing right now. So this is just the first lesson, so stick around.
Yep, it takes a little bit of time to get here, but I mean, this really does, it is basically kind of what I showed you, but it's just a lot more of it. It has images that were done in Photoshop specifically for this site, so you have a little mixture of good Photoshop, kind of knowing how to do image stuff. You have, just lots of different HTML things, and it does use some dynamic PHP and type stuff, which we'll go through all that stuff, but we'll get there.
We'll go into detail, and like I said, I'm a student like you, and we will be learning this together, and we will get there one day, step by step.
Day by day. So this is Quentin and
Jesse.
And we're signing off. Thank you.